And visitors, my name is Teresa Russell, and I'm the current president of the Dublin-Worthington Rotary Club. And we are celebrating today our 32nd meeting of our 49th year. And today's invocation and pledge is by Jerry Katz, signing behind me. I feel like Joe Biden. No insult intended.
I'm so glad that you introduced yourself. Now I know who you are. So, in a prayerful manner, please. As we pray to the Lord of the universe, you have given most of mankind a strong desire to do good, to be honest, to serve others, and to faithfully fulfill their obligations to their neighbors. Help us as Rotarians and humans to do good. Fill us with your spirit of love, joy, and peace. Show us the way to live according to your will and your word. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You.
And then President-elect Jim Farmer, welcome. Introducing our guests.
Thank you. We have two guests today. Our speaker, who will be introduced in a moment, and Ted, will you please stand up and explain why you're reconvening us today?
Well, I plan to join in again next week, and I was supposed to be playing golf at 11 o'clock, and I decided now I'm going to go to Rotary first. I've been a long time Rotarian, know a number of people here, so it's good to be here.
Good to have you. We'll look forward to hearing from you next week.
Anybody with announcements, make your way. And I'm sure you all saw the results, or maybe Don's gonna talk about them. I'll be quiet.
We're gonna do that on your happy dollar.
There you go.
Okay. Just announce that next Monday at 6:30 p.m. At Courtney Chapman's home, we'll be having our monthly community service committee meeting. So all are welcome. The committee members know who you are, and I hope you'll all be there and have a number of things to discuss about recently completed and upcoming projects. Thank you.
Do you want to talk about the results of the food drive?
I'll do that here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Couple of announcements. Our Impact Club is meeting March 26th. It's a Tuesday at Nocterra Brewing in Powell at 5:30. It's a social. They're going to talk about trying to find new members. I think at their last service project, they had 6 or 7 people come. And so we're going to talk about new members and then what they want to do as a service project in April. So if you want to come, hang out, meet the Impact members, you're welcome to join. In other news, because I can't stop trying to raise money, we are trying to launch another raffle. You may have heard about this. It is a travel raffle this time. We're going to move away from bourbon. And we've come up with these great flyers that look like boarding passes. The grand prize is a $20,000 trip anywhere in the world, including airfare. It's all going to be coordinated through Roe, our resident travel agent. So the raffle goes live this Friday at 8 a.m. Please make sure to come up to the front desk and get at least 10 of these, if not more. Thankfully, Jim Allen has agreed to coordinate going to other clubs that are in our near area to promote this as well. So it's a 60-day raffle. We're also going to be advertising online, and so we really want to get the word out. And Jerry,
How much are the tickets?
oh, the tickets, 1 for 50, 3 for 100, or 10 for 250. Jerry, do you want to talk about the other piece?
Yeah, sure, I do. Of course.
Do you know the piece I'm talking about?
Yes, I think I know the piece you're talking about. It's that piece when you get off the plane, try to find your luggage. Is
Yeah.
that piece?
That's the one.
Okay, now, every year for the last umpteen years, this club has had a sponsorship raffle. And you have been given 10 tickets. and charged with selling those tickets or buying them or doing something other than throwing them away. So that would be that you would be charged with a $200 bill. Here's the way we think we've designed this for you this year. This raffle essentially takes the place of our sponsorship raffle. So you can be prepared to buy $200 worth of raffle tickets, but here you can win $20,000 rather than whatever we used to give away, some paltry sum of 750 or something like that. Now, 6 tickets are $250. So if you're behind, then you'll probably 10 tickets. Is that what I said?
Yeah.
I always get confused on that, so thank you.
6 is 200, 10 is 250.
The 6 is 100.
200. 3 is 100, so if you double that.
Oh,
Yeah, are you the treasurer?
no. Not today. Just a little, that's all. Just a little,
deal is 250.
So your deal is $250.
Yeah, that's
Now, I want you to consider this. Please do not run immediately and buy your tickets, buy your raffle tickets.
Why?
There's 2 reasons for that. First of all, the club will make more money if everybody only bought a $50 ticket. We're gonna sell 3,000 tickets only. When you start buying multiples, of course, the revenue decreases in total. Also, we're gonna monitor very, very carefully how many tickets are sold in the first week, 10 days, etc. And so there is a possibility. Do you understand the word possibility? Please say that with me. Possibility that we will be able to lift the mandate that you would have to invest $200. So in other words, the raffle for club members would go away as a mandatory kind of a thing. So just hold off. We'll give you the word when you'll go in, because I think most members will actually invest $250 and get their 10 tickets rather than 6.
Are board members precluded?
No, nobody is precluded on this particular raffle. We had to actually muzzle our attorney and make him take that provision out of all the rules and regulations. So everybody can join in. Any questions? This is gonna be an easy sell, folks. So please get behind it. Hand out the boarding pass as an opener for you, asking people to go ahead and invest. Almost everybody wants to travel. This is $20,000, decidedly, more than most folks would actually spend on one vacation. And there's rules and regulations on this, so I'll just leave it at that. You'll be able to read those on the website. Thank you very much.
Is there only one prize?
There is only one prize. It's a grand prize, and the winner takes all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else with announcements? If not, we'll move on to our sergeant, Mike Moulton. Have you been to one of these clubs before? We do a lot of things.
You are our safe. There's no. It's just a sale. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Glad to see you all. Okay, so let's see here. Jerry Katz. Here. Can you carry the pot for me? Sure. Now, I gotta tell you, Jerry does a lot with love, but when you go and you start calling and dragging people off the street to help work the food pantry, food drive, like Jerry did. Jerry got a guy, brought him right off the street and made him help us with it. And he did a great job, you know, he really did a great job. So, Jerry, put $1 in there just to prime that. Run back there to my fellow Sergeant Ken Carey for looking like the Easter Bunny today, that pink sweater on. So get $1 from him. He's always picking on me, so it's my turn. All right, how many in here clapped when I came up? Nobody. Oh, there we go. So I didn't hear any applause. So anybody who did not applaud for me earlier when I came up, you could throw $1 in there. I know how to take care of you guys. Start that with me, will you? How many folks helped with the food drive Saturday? Raise your hands. Great job. We had a lot of people, a lot of donations. It turned out really well. If you didn't get a chance to, and we got some students to help us too. Some of the Interact Club came out and helped, and it was really kind to see them. 4 of them actually. So if you did not get a chance to participate, go at $1 for letting us participate for you. Now, how many big folks we have here live in Dublin? Oh my gosh, look at all these people. Okay, well, you know, just because Dublin had their annual St. Patrick's Day parade on March 9th, which isn't even close to St. Patrick's Day, I think you're gonna pay $1 just for that miscue on their part. So, you know, put a collar in there. And then, you know, they're green. I don't know what Dublin's thinking, but they didn't even wear green today, my goodness. Okay, let's see here. Out here, anybody tell me who were the grand leprechauns in the parade this weekend? Anybody? Nobody can tell me? Man, that's $1 right there. H and Kate McHale were the grand leprechauns. I don't know, it's Dublin people, you know, they come up with that stuff. Are you kidding me? Now, I'm not gonna leave you Worthington folks out.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen it today, they posted the drone pictures of the new high school build. So look online, it's on Facebook, but those of you from Worthington, go ahead and throw $1 in for the information, but look online, it's a pretty cool drone photo that goes over the top of the building with no roof on it and shows the building in progress. It's pretty cool to see if you want to see that.
Jennifer took the drone pictures. You ought to recognize her.
Did you, Jennifer? All right. Good job. You float over your balloon or? Now, what I thought was funny was someone said, you can't fly a drone over them. There's people working down there. Okay. Okay. You fly it anywhere else. All right, well, I think that's all I have. I think, wait a minute, Jerry, wait a minute, I forgot Happy Dogs. Sorry about that. Happy Dogs, Jerry's got one.
No,
Oh, Don Molly's got one.
somebody who is happy.
Are you happy, Don?
I am.
How come?
Well, the reason I'm happy is precisely because of the food drive that you mentioned briefly, that despite the fact that the event chairman and the community service chairman were out of town, and our president were out of town, who are normal participants, we still had all of the locations fully stocked. And we actually had slightly more donations than we had a year ago, as I understand, when we count the ones that were late reported. So, I regard it as a very successful event. So thanks to everyone who pitched in and who helped us bring the Rotary members in, and especially to Jerry, who did his usual above and beyond service. So thank you for that.
All right.
Anything for free.
Anybody else with a happy dollar?
Yeah, it's
I-
but not rainy.
I will throw-
All rain.
I'm gonna throw in $50.
Oh, good.
Just because it was so much fun teaching these young girls how to go up and collect money from people for the food drive, or even canned goods or whatever. And, they would watch me and then they'd say, I got it all wrong. That's okay, you get plenty of chances, there's gonna be a lot more people, and that was a lot of fun, just helping with that and getting to meet two young girls that I think are gonna be future of Rotary. Dave Hanson, he's got a happy dollar.
I've got $5 happy.
Oh, my.
I'm just back from Mexico. We spent 3 months there. While there, we had 5 members of the club come down and visit with us and participate in our Rotary activities there with our sister clubs. And I did want to recognize Quinn Wixel and George Norris, who are here with me today, but also Rachel Dorothy and John and Christy Bruffy. And I hope that some of you might consider coming down next year. I think they had a positive experience. I think we're developing some strong relationships there with Rotary clubs. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Did you end up finally donating?
Well, we donated about 1,000 and they're still in the process of disseminating them. Actually, we had 2 drives while we were there. And our members participated in these drives. I think we had 20 people receiving glasses through that. And there's another drive this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. What they told me was that they anticipate having these on a monthly basis. And of course, they're recognizing our club and our contributions to the drive. We have lots of ideas about new projects, and we hope that the International Service Committee will work with us to help develop these ideas.
All right, good job, Dave. If there are no other happy dollars, I am done with my program. All right, thank you.
Oh, I can hardly see over this. I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, who is Kate Klein. Kate is a registered dietitian with over 17 years of experience, as well as additional training as a yoga teacher, personal trainer, and over 6 years of advanced training in the field of integrative and functional medical nutrition therapy. This means she goes beyond calories and food groups. She will utilize lab tests to find the underlying imbalances and root causes, then tailor a unique and personalized plan for her clients that goes beyond general diet recommendations into the whole body and lifestyle. So her aim is to rebuild from the ground up and then aims to build sustainable health. And with that, I give you Kate Klein.
Great, I think I have it. Oh, I'm a little too tall here.
Well, sorry.
I'll do this. Okay, this good? Everyone here? And hopefully I get the clicker right. Well, it's really I'm glad to be here. I will say I have been, is that better? There we go. Okay. I have been doing home office practice and telehealth since the pandemic. So thank you for dragging me out of my little hidey hole. As Lisa said, I am Kate and my business is now Defiant Nutrition, and I kind of say that I'm not your average dietitian. I don't tend to do a lot of calorie counting. I don't tend to do a lot of macros and everything, and you're going to see a lot more about what I do look at and how I kind of address things. So, and I love to talk about this stuff. I geek out, I get lost in the weeds. So I tried to kind of pull out the gems for you. But if you want to talk about it more, I will be here afterwards and I'm happy to talk further. So we will kind of get into it. That's me. And why I like this topic, especially of joint health, is because this was very applicable to me. I was told I had 4 years of chronic back pain where I couldn't do anything and nothing was working, physical therapy, massage therapy, acupuncture. And I was told you need to have surgery. And I decided, no, I'm going to look at some other options. And then a couple of years ago, I was told I had arthritis in my knees and I needed to stop running. And I said, no, I'm going to look at some other alternatives. And within a couple months, I was out running an obstacle course race that took me 4 hours, but I was doing it pain-free. So that's not to say never go for surgery, but I like to let people know there are other opportunities and other things they can look at. So we're gonna kind of go through that. I'm gonna go as fast as I can through some of this, especially the food part, because how many people know we should eat healthy foods? We should eat more fruits, vegetables, less junk food. Yeah, we're not spending a lot of time on that because I figured you know that. We're going deeper. And so we'll talk about some of these modern treatments, some of the many multifaceted factors behind pain. We're gonna look at what's going on in the joint so that we can then understand a little bit more about the foods and nutrients. And we'll talk about some of the supplements that have a lot of research behind them. And then I do have an invite for anyone who wants to, because I believe that idea of knowing we should eat healthier doesn't take effect until you actually experience it. So I do offer free 7-day challenges for people to learn more. We do a lot of education, but you also get to follow the program, like follow the healthy eating and see what difference it makes in 7 days. So we'll kind of talk about that at the end. So modern day treatments. I think a lot of people can agree. You feel rushed at the doctors. There's a lot of times you feel like you're just kind of a cog in a wheel in some cases, not every case, but this is a common complaint. Again, pain is multifaceted, and yet all the treatments typically run about the same. They want to try physical therapy. They want to have you take anti-inflammatories or steroid injections, cortisone injections, and if none of that is working, surgery is the next option. I do want to point out here with that medication, do notice the anti-inflammatories. That's a recurring theme in our talk today. And again, kind of the reason I say to be careful with surgery, this is for knee surgery specifically, but in 2017, the British Journal of Sports Medicine did find that surgery is kind of hit or miss. So there's a lot of questions about it. So I'd like to, again, have people learn what other options are there? What other things can you be looking at to support your joint health, maybe before that has to be the option? And where it gets complicated is there's a lot of things that can cause pain. There are many things that can add to joint pain specifically. We have hormones. Females, we have a lot more hormone fluctuation. We have things that can make our tendons looser at times. That can make a joint unstable. You increase your risk of injury. Certain medications can have the side effect of pain. And then of course, movement or range of motions, hyperextending something, breaking something obviously is going to strain something and cause pain. Nutrient status, I have more on that in a minute. And then gut health and inflammation, which is the core of where I work, it's very interconnected. You can almost use those two terms interchangeably, not from a medical sense, but when you have one, you have the other. They're cyclical, they cause an effect on each other. Then of course, posture, alignment, and compression. If you're hunting all the time, you're gonna get more low back pain. If you have a job with a repetitive motion, we see a lot in like painters, they get the shoulder pain. So that impacts it. Compression, your runners, they're gonna have more knee pain in general. And then of course, genetics. That affects your bone structure, and there sometimes can be other components behind pain as well. So it's not straightforward. There's not a one size fits all solution. And I don't know if you can see this. It's pretty small, I'm seeing from here, but this is just an example of some of the nutrients where if you are lacking or low or deficient in some of these, it's going to exacerbate pain. So vitamin D, very tightly tied to inflammation. Inflammation causes pain. So if you're low in vitamin D, you might have more pain, specifically bone and muscle. You've got choline, which is a nutrient that helps block pain receptors and reduce pain, and so on. So you just an example of all the different nutrients that play a role in pain. And I like this. This is probably a lot of detail, but here's kind of the crux of it. When you are dealing with some sort of offensive against the body, a virus, a bacteria, trauma, surgery, stress, poor sleep, your body releases what are called mediators that cause inflammation. So along the top here, it's really hard to see, but we've got a bunch of mediators listed. TNF alpha, COX-2, complement, and other things, interleukins. And these mediators circulate in your body and they cause symptoms. So in the case of a flu or a virus, when you get sick, mediators are released, it causes fever, it causes headaches, it causes muscle pain. So there's tons of different mediators though, and each one has different effects and they can affect people differently. So what we're seeing on the left here are a bunch of herbs and components of nutrients and foods and sometimes medicines and it shows which ones they can help control. So the idea here is that there, again, no one size fits all. This is why people with chronic pain, a lot of times, their doctors have to try multiple medications. We don't know which inflammatory mediators are being activated in your body. So we don't know what medication is going to be best to block it. Likewise, there are some herbs and things that people talk about as anti-inflammatory. They can help with pain. Some of the common ones are turmeric, ginger, boswellia, because they've got the most check marks. We'll see them having the biggest effect, but it still isn't across the board. But those are their starting points. Does that make sense? So the mediators and the inflammation are kind of key. Then we want to look at the joint because we want to make sure we're supporting it. For today, mostly just going to be talking about bones and collagens. But I think what's important is a lot of people have this kind of idea that our bones are static, like we're a plastic Halloween skeleton. But the Mayo Clinic talks about how this is a living tissue. Our bones are continually growing as we go. They form and they resorb. So when you break a bone, it does heal because we have bone cell turnover. So Mayo Clinic states osteoporosis is when the creation of new bones doesn't keep up with the loss of the old bones. So we need to support the bones. We need to do the best we can to keep the bones healthy and keep that pain down. Likewise, we have cartilage, which is another type of tissue. It's the blue line there kind of covering the joint. And when that gets damaged, then we have problems. But until then, it's to help lubricate, it's to help create fluids, it helps create movement. And if this were a knee joint, you'd also have the meniscus in there. So do we have anybody with knee pain? Not, what was that?
Not anymore.
Not anymore? Do you have new cartilage put in?
No need.
New knee? I do a lot of cartilage replacements. So, or shoulder pain or any of these, but any joint is gonna be similar. You've got the bones, you've got the cartilage, you've got the synovial fluid and synovial membrane. There's the tendons, the ligaments, the bursa. So any of these, if they're damaged, if they're strained, if they're dehydrated, if they're inflamed, you're going to have joint pain. So again, it's kind of hard to say across the board where your pain is stemming from, but you need to address all of them. So there is knee issues. This is the big one. This is what I had in college. So knee arthroscopy is the most common orthopedic procedure in countries with available data, and it is seen in 25% of adults over age 50 will experience knee pain. Generally, it's arthritis or the meniscal tear. So understanding arthritis, I think, can be helpful to see what else might be going on. Is this big enough? And everyone can sort of see this at least? Sort of see the hand, okay. So our normal joint, again, we've got the bones, we've got the cartilage, we've got this nice lush synovial membrane and fluid that should be around it. What happens in the difference between arthritis, of the osteoarthritis and rheumatoid, is kind of what's causing it and how it's manifesting. Osteoarthritis is more bone on bone mechanical. So for whatever reason, the bones start rubbing against each other. Maybe the cartilage is broken down, maybe that synovial fluid is dehydrated, maybe like your running form is just so weird, your knee is grinding on itself, or you're just something, you're sleeping really badly and that spine starts to compress. So that's very much wear and tear, mechanical. Rheumatoid is more inflammation and swelling, and this is autoimmune based. This is your immune system going on hyperactivity, and it starts to attack the bone and the cartilage. So you either have mechanical attack, so to speak, on bone and cartilage, or you've got the immune system hyperactive attacking bone and cartilage. So osteo meaning bone, arthro meaning joint, and itis is inflammation. So anything with inflammation, you're gonna see that itis, dermatitis, bursitis, colitis. These are inflammation of that part. So in this case, arthritis of any form, joint, inflammation. So that's the key, binding them together. So from a basic point of nutrients, you want to do everything you can, again, to support that bone health, support all the minerals in it, so that if there is wear and tear, or if there is that autoimmune component, you are providing your body with what it needs. So you want to help minimize that bone breakdown. And a lot of people think of bones as calcium, but there's a lot more to it. There's protein, magnesium, vitamin D, boron, selenium, and more. And all of these need to be in the right ratios to be best absorbed into your bones. So those are some of the nutrients to focus on. Likewise, in cartilage, and we'll talk about this a little bit more with supplements, but if we zoom in on cartilage, it is 80% water, so stay hydrated, drink up. Then of the remaining 20, it is mostly collagen. And then we also have a little bit of glucosamine and we have some chondroitin. So you've probably heard of those supplements for joint pain, right? Glucosamine, chondroitin, and cartilage is making a big kick these days. Anybody take cartilage? I'm sorry, collagen. You want to do morning collagen? I see a nod of you. Yep. It's becoming a big thing. So we'll see if we can get to that here. But when it comes to joint health and joint pain, it's really kind of a three-step process. One, you need to figure out from that other slide, like what is behind it. Pain is a signal. You know, you don't just want to take Advil and numb the pain. You want to figure out why. Why is it inflamed? Is it stress? Is it hormone? Is it muscle imbalance? Is it something in your posture? Do you have a pinched nerve? You know, what is causing it? Is it wear and tear? Is it autoimmune? But no matter what, work on dropping that inflammation. That inflammation leads to those mediators, which creates pain, and more inflammation, which cycles back into more pain and perpetuates that. And then support those nutrients, the magnesium, the vitamin D, all of those things. So when it comes to the food and nutrients, here's what most of you probably know. And disclaimer, yes, educational purposes only. This is not medical advice. You should speak to a dietitian one-on-one or a doctor or someone to get specifics for you, especially when we hit the supplements. But in general, the Cleveland Clinic does have a page on managing joint pain, and they state right on there, sugar and refined grains, including white rice, pasta, and white bread, are the worst food culprits when it comes to reducing or relieving joint pain and inflammation. And yet most of us consume that on a daily basis. But I have had people in that, like the 7-day program I mentioned, they will notice in 7 days, less joint pain, less back pain, better sleep because of the quick impact this food has. I've had one person tell me she noticed 1 day after she cut gluten and wheat products just to try it out. And the next day she was better. That's not across the board 100% the food that causes problems for everyone, but it is a very common one. It's also recommended between Cleveland Clinic and Harvard to limit your sugar, 6 teaspoons a day for women, 9 teaspoons a day for men, maximum. That's not much. So you want to be careful of your treats. And if you do have sweet things, choose the natural things, the honey, the maple syrup, coconut sugar. They're less inflammatory, so they're less damaging. If you're going to eat meat products, you want to cut back on things like fried meats. You want to go with the grass-fed, wild, fresh caught. It actually changes the fatty composition of those foods. There's a study that looked at milk from conventionally raised cows versus grass-fed, and there are more pro-inflammatory fats in the conventional and more anti-inflammatory fats in the grass-fed. So you are not just what you eat, you are what they eat. It does impact the nutrients of the chain. And in that vein, you do want to avoid trans fats or partially hydrogenated oils, such as margarine. Baked goods are common for that. And then cut down on omega-6 fatty acids, which are corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower peanut. And we'll talk about omega-3s a little bit, but you want to increase those. And then in general, just coming back on processed foods, sugary foods, and alcohol. Your body reads those like they read a virus a lot of times. They think it's this non-self, this weird invader, and it releases those mediators we talked about on the earlier slide. So it does impact pain. And so then on the good side, the things that most of us know, we want more fish oils, we want more cruciferous vegetables, specifically your broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, chard, those sorts of things. And just in general, an abundance of fruits and vegetables. They're anti-inflammatory, they're antioxidants, legumes and beans, spices and herbs, green tea, and again, the grass-fed things. We know this. Hopefully this explains a little bit more about why it can affect pain and joint health as well, though. And even the Arthritis Foundation, they talk again about water. Because again, 80% of your joint your cartilage is composed of water. The synovial fluid we need to help cushion it, so it's gonna lubricate, it's gonna keep it, and we need it in the right places. That's another thing we'll come up with. We need water in the right places so that it's not swollen, but it's controlled, it's lubricated, and it can glide. General anti-inflammatory foods and herbs, ginger, turmeric, rosemary, flax, rose hips, nettle. If you've ever had nettle tea, that is great for arthritis. And then bones, again, Arthritis Foundation stating it again, it's more than just calcium. It's all those other minerals and proteins and the ability to absorb them and digest them in your body. And then collagen, which you can make with bone broth. Maybe you've seen kind of the rise in bone broth over the years becoming a thing. Gelatins, collagens, and then the thing that you don't hear a whole lot about is vitamin C, which we'll talk about when we hit supplements here. So I call this part supplementing your joint health plan because that's all it is. It's a supplement. You have to have those other foundations first, or this doesn't matter. You can't out supplement a bad diet, bad lifestyle, wear and tear on the knees. Like this is just to support. This takes it up another level. That's first up, that's like level 1. This next level. And there are a ton of supplements that have some research behind them. But here's where we're gonna see the biggest game changers. These are the ones with the most data behind them. So we've got fish oil, curcumin, which is found in turmeric, pycnogenol, collagen, glucosamine, and chondroitin. So again, disclaimer on these slides, I use this presentation for talking to other functional medicine practitioners. So you're gonna see dosage recommendations. Those are just what were studied, but you may or may not actually apply to that. That's sort of like a baseline. So I'm not gonna go into those in detail. But we'll start with the fish oil. So the idea here, fish oils come in omega-3s are different forms. We've got ALA, DHA, and EPA. These are all essential fatty acids, and you can get omega-3s from things like flax, walnuts, chia seeds, but not everyone can convert those into the active form. Fish oil is the active form, so it's the best to get absorbed in. And what we need to do is, and everybody heard of omega-3s, you kind of hear this is another one that gets a lot of marketing. You want to increase your omega-3s, take more fish. But it's important that our ratio of 3 to 6 is balanced. Most of us in America eat way too much of the omega-6, not enough of the 3s. And that's why this recommendation can come about. It's a generalization. But the idea is we need that ratio to where it should be, and that keeps your cell integrity together. But if you get too much of one or the other, the cell walls are going to start to break down. That then begins that cycle of inflammation, which releases mediators, which causes pain. So for most people, omega-3s are a good choice in general, but that's always kind of that caveat. And so what we see though is it has immunosuppressive. So this is great for that rheumatoid arthritis, that autoimmune arthritis, that state where your immune system is just going hyperactive a little bit too much. So that's where they see the best results is with the RA and fish oil. So again, kind of those points to remember, it's about the ratio of 3 to 6. Too much omega-3 can be just as damaging as too much omega-6. And as a blanket statement, make sure you're addressing those other factors we talked about, the stress, the sleep, the food, exercise, movement, posture, and so on. Now, curcumin, that's in turmeric. Anybody do turmeric supplements or make their own curry? Okay, so yeah, very potent anti-inflammatory, a lot of other benefits to turmeric as well, probably one of my favorites. But again, you're seeing this inflammation. This is just such a broken record, but what it is, it's an anti-inflammatory because it inhibits that COX-2 mediator from that first page with the grid. That's the one it blocks that seems to be a big trigger for pain. So this is similar to taking Advil. You can instead do turmeric. So they have seen in the research, it reduces pain and improves physical function, especially in osteoarthritis. What we do know though, is it is poorly absorbed alone. So if you're just putting turmeric in tea and you're not putting anything else with it, you might not get the benefit. If you're looking for a supplement, they pair it with something called pepperine, which is the black pepper extract. So you need that to help absorb it. And typically a fat, so olive oil, coconut milk, ghee, something like that, which is why, again, great in curry. Some things to remember with this one, some people have issues with soy, and that's a common filler ingredient with it. And it is a natural blood thinner, so talk to your doctor if you're on blood thinners before you go out and take any turmeric supplements. And we got pycnogenol. This one, I don't think people have heard of too much. Anybody heard of this one? No. This comes from a bark extract in trees. So it's a patented, that's the pycnogenol is the patented name for it, but it's an extract of a pine bark. And it is, again, just a powerful anti-inflammatory, helps fight inflammation, has antioxidants, and it helps improve blood flow. So where they're seeing this benefit for research is it's one thing to help reduce the pain, but to heal a joint, if you've got that tear, you need blood flow there. So when I had my knee surgery in college, they said, we're gonna go and check the meniscus, and depending where the tear is, we may have to poke holes. You need to get that blood flow in there because the blood is what carries oxygen and iron and all the nutrients. So there's some benefit to pycnogenol being an additional boost to that blood flow. So we are seeing some good research, especially for osteoarthritis. However, this one might be contraindicated for autoimmune because this one actually boosts your immune system a little bit. So if you don't have any autoimmune issues, we don't see any side effects, except maybe the occasional little bit of a headache, or some people don't digest it well and you might get a little stomach ache. But because it's strengthening that immune system, if you're in that autoimmune, in that hyperactive immune system state, you might not want to do this because it can add to it. So not so much recommended for rheumatoid or psoriatic arthritis. So again, always consult with your doctor or medical team. And then collagen. So this one's had a big boom lately. Jennifer Aniston, Vital Peptides. Anybody else seen those commercials? She's all over TV. So collagen has a lot of benefits. It makes up 25 to 35% of our total protein intake in our bodies. And within the cartilage, it's kind of one of the main components, second to water. So in our food, it comes from skin, like fish skins, things like that, sardines, salmon, if you eat skin. It's in the bones and other connective tissues where it's just where people make these bone broths. You take the bones and you simmer them like 24 hours. And you help pull out the collagen, pull out the minerals, and get all of that in so that you can consume it and have it go to your bones. So there's a lot of different types. You see type 1, type 2, hydrolyzed, all these different types of collagens. They both, all of them seem to be helpful in reducing joint pain, but it's unclear for sure which type of intake is required. Our cartilage is made up mostly of type 2, but we can't tell yet from the research if you need to consume type 2 or if any of them break down and reconstitute in your bone, in your body as the collagen you need. So the things I point out with collagen is this one has so much marketing behind it. It has been such a major push, and marketing is moving so much faster than our research can keep up with it. So like that point about type 1, type 2, we don't know for sure. And the other thing, again, a lot of people are putting it in their morning coffee because that's how Jennifer Aniston does it. And that's just become a very common thing. But what they're finding is caffeine might inhibit the absorption, and you need vitamin C to absorb it. And coffee blocks vitamin C absorption. So plus you need to re-intake your vitamin C every single day. It's a very transient nutrient, so to speak. It's in and then it's out. We don't hold on to it. So if you've had food in the morning with some sort of fruit or vegetable, you probably are good on your vitamin C. But first thing in the morning, after sleeping all night, our stores aren't really good. So there's a lot of question about how beneficial that caffeine is. We don't know, or I'm sorry, that collagen is. We don't know, is it just that we've reduced the absorption, but we're still getting some? And if so, by how much? Or is it completely negating it? But the couple studies I've been reading on this one is they were having athletes do this, and they either had them take it in water or they had them take it with orange juice. And they saw a much higher concentration in their blood 45 minutes later if they had the orange juice. Likewise, if they're doing pre-workout supplements with caffeine, they didn't have as much in their blood 45, 60 minutes later. So we don't know all the details, but coffee does not seem to be the optimal way to do this right now. So yeah, lot of marketing going on in that one. But Jennifer says it's good. So Glucosamine. So we're gonna hit the glucosamine and chondroitin. I'm gonna try to wrap this up real quick because we're at 27 minutes. So these are actually work best in tandem. And what glucosamine does, again, it was part of that cartilage. We looked at that picture early on. It helps bring water in and keep it where we want it. So it helps with that hydration. It helps with that lubrication. And we also see that once again, it might inhibit IL-1, which is another one of those inflammation mediators, and the COX-2 enzymes. So glucosamine can help with the water, which helps reduce degradation of the bone and can help reduce inflammation. This is also an anticoagulant, so be careful of that if you're on blood thinners. And then chondroitin, same idea. Once again, anti-inflammatory. Like there's just so much inflammation in pain issues, whether that's joint pain, migraines, headaches, endometriosis, like inflammation is such a key of that. So chondroitin, once again, it is part of that. It helps with the water balance, just like the glucosamine. And so therefore we see that same idea, better with that water holding and alleviating pain. And these two work symbiotically together, and we do seem to see even better benefit if you take them both. So anticoagulant properties, and actually something I should point out with everything, quality matters. You get what you pay for with supplements. It's a whole wild, wild west of regulations and lack of them. So this applies to all supplements, but chondroitin's been the one that's been studied the most, where they are finding contaminants in those cheap versions. So it's worth splurging on a little bit. So that's a summary of the supplements: fish oil, curcumin, nodular, collagen, glucosamine, and chondroitin. And if you saw that pattern overarching, it is the repetitiveness of that anti-inflammatory, antioxidant message. So what I do like to do is invite you all to experience this sort of result that food can have. I actually just kind of coincidentally was telling Lisa that I'm running a 7-day challenge where it's on Facebook. I know social media kind of sucks, but that's where I'm at. But if you are on social media and you are on Facebook and you want to do it, we do videos every day. They're all recorded, so you can watch at your own time. But we talk deep nutrition in the morning, like what's going on with gluten, what's the deal with dairy, why are vegetables what they are. And then in the afternoon, we do a deep dive on inflammation and the GI and pain issues. You get a food list of things to follow. It is not super restrictive. We don't cut any single food group except dairy, but it's only temporary. And the results people see in 7 days is just kind of astounding. There's just so many things that we get. So I'm gonna kind of show some of the things, just the things in 7 days. They're like, I'm sleeping better, my mood is better, my back doesn't hurt, my knees don't hurt, my stomach feels better, I feel like dancing. I never thought I'd be a runner, but I'm gonna go for a run. So it's really amazing how fast food can impact us when we give it the chance. So if anyone's interested, we've got the website, I've got a QR code, but that's just my invite to you all. And in conclusion, joint health needs to encompass more than just bones. It is your bones, your cartilage, the synovial fluid. It is the muscles, tendons, and ligaments. You need to pay attention to all of them. It is affected by so many different things, by your posture, stress, sleep, lack thereof, food, inflammation, medications, genetics, and more. So if you are struggling with it, be sure to do your due diligence. There's no cookie cutter solution because there's no cookie cutter reason we're all dealing with pain. They are very multifaceted. They are very individual. When it comes to the role of food, I recommend just those basics. You've heard them as white noise forever, but give yourself a chance to actually try it for 7 to 10 days and see if you notice any changes. And make sure you keep working on those joint nourishing supplements, the hydration, the herbs and the spices, the healthy fats, lots of vegetables, try some bone broth, try the collagen. And then if you want to do any supplementation, I would just recommend working with a health professional to make sure there's no contraindications and you get the right dosing. Questions from that? Yes.
So, Kate, thanks for your meaningful presentation. I want to know why you're defiant though.
That picture would not be appropriate to show in public, but it was after I was told I needed to stop running and have surgery, and I did my own protocol with a lot of these supplements and certain lab tests that I use to help drop inflammation quick. And within 6 weeks, like I went from not being able to run a quarter of a mile without knee pain to running a 5K trail run in 6 weeks. So I had a picture where I was kind of giving the middle finger to the camera because I was angry that I'd been told to stop running. So that sort of embodied it. I work with a lot of people who have chronic GI issues or chronic pain issues where they are told either it's all in your head, all your labs look normal and there's nothing we can do, or here's your medication, get used to it, start meditating to deal with the pain and the stress. So they're all pretty angry.
Is there, overarching themes that you see across, your patient base that, everybody should at least be doing this, or everybody's deficient in this, or something like that?
Generally, so the question is if there's an overarching pattern, what we sped through with the food, I usually have them do for probably 1 to 2 weeks while we wait for some lab work to come in, where it's like, it's pull out the gluten, pull out the dairy, pull out the sugar, just pull that all out and see. That's not to say that's forever, but if your house is on fire, we need to put it out and then we rebuild. After that, the supplements, it's generally, I'm always food first, but most of us don't eat what we should. So if you're not eating low mercury fish 3 times a week, then let's probably do some fish oils. If you're not eating your own fermented sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha every day, let's get you on a probiotic. And then usually a good multivitamin. That's kind of my base, and then we build from there. Yes.
First, you tried to take away my booze, then you killed the coffee. I got nothing left.
Imbalance. None of that should ever go away forever. I absolutely love ice cream. I absolutely love whiskey. Those are my vices and I still enjoy them. But the way I kind of explain it in an analogy, if a house is on fire, you've got to put the fire out. And then after the firemen have left, you get in and you go, what set that fire? Was it a leaky stove? Was it faulty wiring? You fix that and then you rebuild from the ground up. If you just pull out foods, but you don't figure out like why your body wasn't handling that, you're cooking on a stove that's continually leaking gas and you're just sitting there with the fire extinguisher putting it out. But if you can get to that root, why is your immune system angry? Why is this happening? Then you should be able to bring back any food you want in a good moderate balance. So as far as coffee, it's just not with collagen.
There was what could be a question there. You didn't mention CBD or THC usage for pain management. Do you have an opinion on that?
Ooh, I haven't done a deep enough dive. I know it's very anti-inflammatory, but at the same time, some of the research I was looking at recently was saying the smoke itself can be pro-oxidant. So, or I don't know, because I haven't looked at it, if the anti-inflammatory benefits outweigh the oxidative destruction it's doing. I think so, but I don't have the full deep dive that I have to do to feel good about saying it.
Yeah, just a comment to make, like you were talking about the farm raised beef.
Mhm.
The same goes with fish.
Yes.
I've read several reports on farm raised fish or GMO fish only hold a percentage of what wild caught fish have in many categories, so.
Yeah, and they're feeding a lot of them
Realize
like.
what they're buying
Mhm.
is different, so.
Yeah, it's definitely, and they're farm fed, their adrenaline's usually higher. They're usually fed like soy pellets, the salmon are fed pink food coloring to make them that pretty pink color. So yeah, the wild caught, grass fed, free range, eggs, chicken, beef, fish, all of that. Yeah. I saw for here.
I was wondering if you have worked with people over age 80.
A few. I was telling Lisa, I've had everywhere from about 22 to in the high 70s. Everything from, I feel mostly good, I just want to kind of optimize things, to I'm missing 16 feet of my small intestine, or I don't have a large intestine at all. So it's run the gamut, but inflammation is always kind of at the core of it.
Do you know anybody that's over 80?
I don't see anyone here. Yes.
So in January, I completed the Whole30 diet, which is very similar to what I think you're describing.
Yes.
And now I'm not convinced, but I think I'm an insane person, because now, since doing that, I feel a lot more joint pain.
More.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I didn't do the reintroduction correctly.
Okay.
So now I'm like, was there something about taking away all the inflammation that like my bones and joints are upset now? Maybe it's all in my head. I could be insane.
It could be timing, just like coincidence of timing, but this was just this January, so like just a couple months ago. I have heard one analogy where every now and then that happens, the analogy was, imagine you are in a busy conference room, everybody's talking, it's very noisy, and you drop a spoon on the floor. You don't hear it. But once you quiet everything down, then you're gonna hear it. And so our bodies, again, pain is a message. Our bodies are continually telling us like something's wrong, something's wrong. And I think most of us just have gotten used to ignoring our bodies since childhood. I don't know when I'm full. I don't know when I'm hungry. I don't know when I'm in pain. I don't know when I'm thirsty. We've lost touch with that. So there's a theory that as you calm things down, you now become more aware, but it should go away if you fix the root issue. So there are times I work with a lot of people, what we do, where something like that, I work with a lot of people where I've done the Whole30, I've done low FODMAPs, I've done the autoimmune protocol, it's not working. And that's where we run the labs, because I've had people where their triggers are very healthy food. It's kale's a trigger, it's butternut squash is a problem, it's, you know, mung beans or mackerel or whatever it is that we normally think is healthy. But if your immune system is triggered and you've got pain and issues and illness, it gets confused and it sees those as non-self and mounts an immune system attack. So that's kind of the lab work we do. It actually measures the volume of those mediators that get released, so we can go, okay, these are the foods your body thinks are the enemy. We're pulling those. We're going with the things it knows are safe, and we're putting that fire out. So you have something that's still triggering inflammation for you then.
Yeah. I'll be talking to you.
Ah. Is that good? Okay. Thank you very much. Good question.
Yeah, come on up. Thank you, that was great. And Jerry's got one addition to the.
Okay, so the message from the speaker today is stay out of the bars and go fishing.
Just for 7 to 10 days. After St. Patrick's.
Let me reiterate once again, this is your safe piece. Put this in the hands of as many people as you meet. Tell them on Friday, they can actually go to the website. Because we're not launching until Friday morning. 8 o'clock, I think, in the morning. So, be sure and use this, get rid of them, encourage people. Thank you. Yes, dear.
I would request that our tech savvy people send us an online version of this that we can then forward to.
An email will be coming out. This is not the only marketing effort. This is just the first one.
We'll be doing Facebook. You'll be getting emails to forward,
Okay.
etc. It's only 3,000 tickets. And I really mean that. It's only 3,000 tickets. You know how many travel agents there are in just Franklin County?
3,000.
John, a resident researcher, knew I was gonna ask that. They're all making a good living. Get these passed out. Thank you.
All right, we have a sergeant, or gosh, a raffle. I'm sidetracked, I'm going on a trip, a raffle.
We got $25 in the daily pot. Last 4 digits are 6280.
Jeff said it's gonna be Jim Miller.
He's got the luxury on.
Thank you.
And the ace of spades has 163.
I think he pays whoever does the.
Yeah.
Splits the pot.
Last 4 digits are 6275.
Right.
Mike Holman. Come on up.
Yeah.
That's really.
I'll take that.
Except I would.
Are you lucky today?
You show me the money.
Are you lucky?
I'm lucky, yes, I am. I see it
Is
right
there
there.
some food group that can get rid of the inflammatory?
Oh. That's why we're glad. Thank you.
All right, our Rotary quarterly test of the things we think, say, and do first. Second, third, and fourth. We are adjourned. Don't forget to turn in your badges.
Yeah, what is? Really enjoyed your. Yeah, that's fine. 39 years ago.
Yes,
Only the headline.